Ladies and gentlemen, transfer window is rocking and rolling. We've got loads and loads of stuff to talk about here. We're going to kind of go quick fire because, as James and I have discovered when making videos like this, we can say something and then we can publish a video. But the moment that video has been published, Fabrizio Romano can post a "here we go," and then we're out of date. So we're going to try and keep things snappy here and keep things light. James, first of all, your reaction to the Declan Rice saga that we've got going on. West Ham want all this money. Arsenal were kind of in the driver's seat, right, ready to kind of find a compromise and figure it out. But Man City have entered the race. Manchester United are monitoring it. What are you making of this Declan Rice situation? Is it too much money? Blah, blah, blah. Just broad question. You attack this subject however you want.
From a West Ham standpoint, no, because that's their guy and it's going to be very hard to replace him. But from an actual football standpoint, of course, Jack, it's a stupid amount of money for a defensive midfielder. You know, a defensive midfielder who I don't think, this is just my opinion, I don't think changes life the way people perceive him to be. And it's always due to the fact of, okay, when you're English, you cost more. People believe that you're better than what you actually are. I think he's a good guy. But when I look at Declan Rice's overall performance and his ability, I think he's a good midfielder. That's just what he is. I don't think he's close to a Casemiro. I don't think he's close to a Rodri. I don't think he's close to them sort of guys. Off the ball, I think he's as good as them. But on the ball, to me, is to me where he lacks. And it's not the point of view of goals and assists. Since when have we judged, let's say, midfielders, especially defensive midfielders, and actual midfielders on your goals and assists? Right. No, I'm looking how you can actually control the game of football. And that's what that's what a player like Casemiro is doing. A player like to me, that plays for Arsenal, Thomas Partey. I don't believe Declan Rice is on the level of a Thomas Partey. Off the ball, as good. On the ball, does not come close to it. Yeah. And that's to me where his biggest issue is going to lie. It's all good when you can break up play and then you have loads of grass to run into. You're not going to step into a situation, let's say playing from Man City or Arsenal, where teams are going to set up with two banks of four, and ask you, can you break us down? We're going to shuffle side to side. There's going to be little gaps open up here, there. Can you be the guy to see that pass and thread that ball through? That's not Declan Rice's game. That's not something that I associate with him a lot. And can he do that for an Arsenal? Can he do that for a Manchester United, Man City? Again, coaches are there to coach and help these players get better. But right now, with his ability, I don't think so.
Well, he's a high character guy. That adds to the value. He's a good guy. He's a good leader. You know, he's a good pro. He's going to do all those things right. And that does certainly add to the value. You're signing the human being as much as you're signing the player. I agree with everything you've just said. And James, I think moving on to another guy who we can talk about here just as a little bit of a segue, thing I find most fascinating, I mean, I'll ask you right now, if you're going into the 2023-2024 season, would you rather play a Man City team with Declan Rice in, or would you rather play a Man City team with İlkay Gundogan in? Because I'm not going to lie to you, as of right now, feels to me like a little bit of a downgrade. Not a lot, not a massive downgrade, but I think there's a little bit of a downgrade. I would, at this point in time, currently rate İlkay Gundogan as a better footballer than Declan Rice, especially in that Man City team, personally.
Oh, Jack, 100%. I look at this from this point of view. If Manchester City they've already lost Gundogan. Looks like they might lose Bernardo Silva, and their two replacements are going to be Kovacic and Declan Rice. Jack, that's a huge downgrade. And if I'm everybody looking around, I'm thinking, okay, we might have a bit of a chance here. Okay, depending on who else they bring in might be a bit of an issue. But if you're letting those two go and then you're bringing in those two, listen, everybody else definitely has a chance because they're not as good as what Manchester City all to me already had before. So if I'm an opposition fan, it's not bad. That is definitely not bad for me.
We are lacking at the moment, I think, in terms of world-class right wingers in world football. And, you know, I think it will just be interesting to see how Man City address that going forward. James, quickly, I know you kind of touched on it. İlkay Gundogan to Barcelona, probably a dream of his from maybe when he was a younger man, something that he wants to fulfill. I don't care so much about how Gundogan feels about it. How do you rate this from Barcelona's perspective? Does this kind of move the needle enough for you to make them contenders for Champions Leagues, La Ligas, etc.?
Gundogan's an unbelievable player, Jack, and I believe a player that can play in multiple positions. But the biggest thing for Barcelona this year is that they've lost a player of Sergio Busquets' caliber and this guy's been the most integral part of this team. Take Messi out of it for the last 10 odd years, Jack, and it's hard to replace a figure like that. I look at Gundogan's style. Granted, he is versatile. He isn't that sort of player that can really sit there and dictate play. Could a player like Frankie de Jong do that? I'm
Well,
not sure.
and I will just say for the people at home, guys, arguably the number 1 and 2 fans of the Sergio Busquets fan club are me and James. I don't think we can underestimate how James and I, it is a very, very shared mutual opinion. Guys, Sergio Busquets is one of the greatest players of all time in terms of his ability to execute his role. It's not sexy, it's not cool, but guys, what this guy does on a football pitch is insane.
Oh no, Jack! It is sexy and it is cool. Like, listen, the way he plays the game. Goodness gracious, I mean, he's like a cigar, and he's just dissing people. But I don't get it because Barca to me have a lot of players in in Gundogan's position. Gavi, Pedri,
Right.
Frankie de Jong. I'm not sure what's going to go on with a player like Frank Kessie. Again, it's a good bit of strength and depth there. It's a bit of experience there after losing a player of Sergio Busquets' stature overall. But if I'm Barcelona, they're still looking for one more. That's just the thing about it. That's just me. I don't think it makes Barcelona any better than what they actually are in the midfield.
Well, yeah, look, I think you're absolutely right. My guess would be that somebody like Frankie de Jong would potentially be that guy to fill that role and come deep, collect the ball, recycle play, etc., play more progressive passes and stuff. But we'll have to see. A guy also who I think if I was advising Barcelona on maybe who to sign, but it looks like he's going to be signing somewhere else, Sandro Tonali. Supposedly that's coming to a little bit of an agreement here soon. And James, my initial thought process on this is Newcastle are operating like one of the big boys. If any of the top 6, top 7, whatever football teams were looking at a player like Sandro Tonali, we'd be getting excited about it. We'd be talking about, oh wow, this is a nice pickup. This is Newcastle United, and they're not messing around. This is a good amount of money. How much does this solidify potentially a top 4 spot for Newcastle next year, or does this move the needle enough to talk about maybe a title push for Newcastle?
I don't know about that. Again, it's always going to depend on who else they bring in around them. But if you're just going to look at the midfield trio, Jack, granted Joe Linton, and I can see them bringing in another player. They might bring in a player like Nicola Barella. So, Jack, right now you got Tonali, you got Bruno Guimaraes, and you got Joe Linton in there. You look at the rest of the Premier League. Listen, they're as good as the Manchester United midfield. City's midfield, with the fact that Jack, they are losing a player like Gundogan there. I'm not saying that they're as good as Manchester City right now in the midfield, but they can have a little chat. Liverpool's midfield to theirs midfield, Jack, I might pick their midfield over Liverpool's midfield right now. Arsenal, they can have a discussion. Like, when you look at what they're building, Jack, it's something to behold. And the thing I like about Newcastle is that everybody's looking at this 100 million, 90 million. How much they signed Bruno Guimaraes for? 40 odd million. They're going to get to Tonali for around 40 to 50 odd million. It's still a lot of money, but compared to the numbers that's going on now, like nowadays, they're
James,
doing some decent.
Isak was good value at the time. Callum Wilson is a good deputy. Miguel Almiron was arguably Premier League Player of the Year at points last season. Willock had a really, really nice year. The defense, do we need to say anything more? Like, again, they're being smart. I think you said it right. And Tonali, yeah, guys, that is no joke. That is a kind of a defining transfer in what Newcastle United are trying to build here, and he's going to execute exactly what Eddie Howe wants. James, I want to kind of move over slightly here a little bit. Mason Mount, this is potentially a little bit of a tough one to take for Chelsea fans, maybe a little bit of a dagger to the back here a little bit. Supposedly, if all reports are to be believed, this transfer will be agreed by the end of next week for around 55 to 60 million pounds, 1 year left on his deal. I mean, we can talk about overpaying for a guy with a year left, but Chelsea's Player of the Year 2 years running, wanting to go to Manchester United, this feels like kind of a big deal for Eric Ten Hag and this team.
I feel like he shows you how much of a hot property Mason Mount is. And I think the biggest thing for Mason Mount is what he does off the ball. I think a lot of managers seem to appreciate his work, and like you know what Eric Ten Hag wants. He just doesn't want you to, play on the ball. He wants you to do the work off the ball. And Mason Mount as a midfielder is to me one of the best. That's why when he was fit, he was starting for England. Is it, Jack? Is it good money. I granted the 1 year left on his deal. I get that, but the way football's going nowadays for an England international, I think it's a really, really. I think it's a really, really good move for him. And also, let's just add two and two together. Let's just say Mason Mount does sign for let's just say he does sign for Man United. Another player that he's quite close with, Declan Rice. And Man United have been linked with trying to bring Declan Rice there. Would not be a thing where Declan Rice looks, I get to play with my mate Mason Mount too. So that could be an option there too.
Yeah, Rashford. There's a lot of England players. Luke Shaw. There's a lot of England presence in that Man United team. I guess I don't mind your thought process. The one thing I will say is I think the rumours I've seen are talking about swap deals with Elanga and Harry Maguire. Guys, swap deals never happen. Never. Anytime you see a rumour for a swap deal, forget about it. Never going to happen. Keeping the Man United theme going here a little bit though, James. Andre Onana. The agent of Andre Onana was in Manchester the other day, according to Fabrizio Romano, discussing this opportunity. David De Gea is out of contract at the end of this season. Supposedly, a contract is there to be signed, but has not been done yet, and it's pointing towards maybe an exit. Do you think Erik ten Hag is going to reunite maybe with his former Ajax goalkeeper?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's that to me is a thing that looks like it would happen. It kind of makes sense. I was seeing the Pickford stuff, and Pickford to Onana, I feel like it's a 50-50, show. Because Onana, I still have questions for him as his overall goalkeeping ability. At times I feel sometimes he could be saving shots when like the ball goes in. I don't think his presence in the air is as great as what it like should be. But the one thing, Jack, you can't doubt against this guy is Jack, the ball at his feet. He's the
Special.
best in the world in my eyes.
Yeah.
People say like Edison, no, no, no, no, no, no, no, no. This guy, he's really, really different. Like
Yeah.
Jack, he's receiving the ball, he's putting his foot on the ball, and his teammates are moving because they know he's gonna pick me out. That is, I've never seen like you've seen goalkeepers who can ping and goalkeepers who can sweep with keepers, but he is generally the first point of attack for them. He's the
He's a
guy that
number six.
orchestrates things as a goalkeeper. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, he's a number six. Let's jump over back to North London and let's talk about your team here, James. I know you're probably going to have a bit of a strong view on this, but Kai Havertz coming to Arsenal. I know you're not necessarily the biggest fan of these kind of tweener position guys who don't really have a clearly defined position. Is this something that could work, or is this something where you feel like you're throwing money at a waste of space?
The word I'm going to use here is confidence. Football, a lot of football is based on confidence. You can see the best player in the world, but if he's low on confidence, he's just not that. I remember seeing a video of Zlatan Ibrahimovic play for Barcelona, and he was shot of confidence, missing chances, ball going underneath his foot, miscontrolling. I'm thinking, this is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the most confident guy in the world, but he lost confidence. I remember Messi gave him the ball to score penalties, just trying to get his confidence up. But confidence matters in football, and maybe with Kai Havertz right now, he's had a loss of confidence, and by him having a new change of scenery and a new manager, a new look, a new team, that could help his confidence, and that could bring out a player that, Jack, let's be truthfully honest here. As much as I question his overall ability point of view, what's his best attribute?
Right.
You and me Jack, I remember when we did a video about him in Bayern Leverkusen, there's a player in there.
Oh, 100%.
No one has ever doubt that there is a good player in there. The question is, who's going to get out of him? And can Mikel Arteta be the one to get out of him? We wait and see. Am I confident about this signing? No. But the point of view of being a coach is being able to coach players and help players get better. You look at a player like Joe Linton for Newcastle. He was a striker. And now, Jack, this guy is a center midfielder going box to box, breaking up play, and scoring goals. Could Kai Havertz be that? You just never know. And let's wait and see. Mikel Arteta has a tough job on him. He chose him. Hopefully he can make something happen.
Talking about another London team, Moises Caicedo. Supposedly this has been kind of a long, drawn-out process, but Moises Caicedo to Chelsea looks to be somewhat done. Obviously, N'Golo, easy for me to say. N'Golo Conte is now out the door. Is Moises Caicedo coming in as kind of a replacement to sit in there next to Enzo Fernandez and maybe Christopher Nkunku and just try and figure out that midfield?
Yeah, is he a Mauricio Pochettino type player? Yeah. My only thing that kind of makes me go a bit is a player like Basuma. When he remember when he was at Brighton, people would go, "Oh, Basuma, look what he did." Remember me being an Arsenal fan. I wanted Basuma. He joins Tottenham and
Dead.
haven't seen anything of him.
Yeah.
And that tends to happen with a few players who have like left Brighton, but he's Chelsea's man. Chelsea are willing to pay over the odds for him. They already have Enzo in there. Enzo needs somebody who like he's gonna look to and he's gonna have his back, who's gonna be able to protect him um um in certain points. And one thing I have noticed about Caicedo is Jack. Not only is he a defensive midfield who breaks through plays, he's strong. He can play, Jack. He can
Yeah.
play in between the lines. And Jack, playing for that Brighton team, probably the team that builds up the best in the Premier League. He can play, and him right next to Enzo, that's going to be a decent partnership if that happens. But let's.
I get worried a lot of the time of you benefiting from the system in which you operate in. And again, my word, environment, right? What is the environment you occupy in? How easy is it to show your skills within the environment you operate? I think Brighton do give a situation where players can do this kind of thing and then they move to a different situation and they're not the players they once were. I do wonder if there's a bit of that with Moises Caicedo. Again, I look at Roma signing Carlos Perez, right, the right winger from the Barcelona academy, and I thought, oh, we might have a player here. It's like, no, just because he was at Barcelona and in the academy does not mean it's going to work in Rome. It doesn't work that way. So again, be interesting to see what happens. I'm not going to doubt the guy, but similarly, you just used the best example, Yves Bissouma. Again, nobody saw that not working out, but I mean, we haven't seen a great deal from the guy that makes us go, oh, he's the guy we remember at Brighton. James, Kylian Mbappe, lot of drama. Guy's a bit of an attention seeker. And again, unfortunately, I think in the world of football right now, if you're a big attention seeker, there's only one place that can deal with these kind of big personalities and that kind of thing. And that's Real Madrid. Is this set in stone? I mean, James, to me, it feels like Real Madrid this summer or Real Madrid for free next year.
Mbappe. Oh, Killy. This is Kylian Mbappe's world, Jack. We just live in it. You mentioned the attention seeking side of it. Real Madrid fans are sick of it, and I think PSG fans are sick of it. I think PSG's board is sick of it. I think
the world of
Real
football is sick of it.
We don't know what's going to happen. I feel like it's cooled down. I think it's going to pick back up at a certain point. The one thing we all know, Jack, I think is almost guaranteed that at some point in Kylian Mbappe's career, he will have that white shirt on. Yeah. I remember doing a video a few back 2 years ago, looking at the Ballon d'Or, the Golden Boy. And even then, like when he wasn't fully linked with PSG, he wasn't fully linked with Real Madrid, I said he will be a Real Madrid player at some point in his career. It will happen.
Yeah.
Is it going to be this season, next season? We don't know. Now, PSG, the contract that they gave him was an absolute madness.
Yeah, it's
technically only signed a 1-year deal, Jack. It's crazy, unbelievable.
2-year deal with a 1-year extension.
No. It's a 1-year deal with a 1-year extension. That's basically what it was.
So it's two with one. So he signed it last year until the end of next season. So we're going into his second year. The third year is an optional extension, but he gets to decide, not the club. He gets to decide whether he extends it for that third year. That's why when he held up that 2025 shirt, it was like, no, dude, you signed a 2-year deal. You signed a 2-year. Because if you signed a 1-year deal, he'd be done this summer. That's what's insane. But what I don't like, James, he's moving like prime Ronaldo and prime Messi here. That's what I don't like. It's like, bro, we think you're talented and we think you're good, but you haven't left the French league yet, my guy. No one's giving you respect.
His body of work is.
I'm not there yet. Messi
Jack,
and Ronaldo.
There's no way a guy who's played in 2 World Cup finals, who scored a hat trick in a World Cup final, who scored goals at Nou Camp.
I'd love to see anything apart from a Ligue 1 title for Paris Saint-Germain. I'm James. At a club level, I am not impressed with the guy yet. I'm not. I need to see it happen elsewhere because he's moving like we need to give him respect like Ronaldo or Messi. He's nowhere close at the moment. Erling Haaland is in a better spot for that right now. Erling Haaland's fresh off a treble. James, we've got no time left here. Romelu Lukaku. What do we think about? What do we think about him?
I don't know.
It's over.
Listen, come to Arsenal. We need a number 9.
off the bench for Arsenal. I don't mind that. Guys,
Yeah,
let me know what you think. Like I said, James and I, in 24 hours, we're gonna be out of date on this one, I promise you. But let us know your comments. We're waiting for you. Want to hear what you have to say. Drop a like on the video as well. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already. And until next time, we'll see you.